Så vi kan börja titta faktiskt.
Do you consider yourself a skilled swimmer? Have you bravely tested the waters of several oceans and seas? If so,
Jag har bara testat 2 stycken andra. Plus fjällnora.
That's great. But no matter how well you can swim or dive, there are...
Jag undrar ifall... Tror ni någon någonsin har surfat på en sån där stor våg? Så fall ska jag bli den första.
Places you should definitely steer clear of. Some have treacherous underwater rocks, flows, and tides, while others have gained notoriety for the legends of monsters and mysterious creatures dwelling in their depths. In this video, you'll learn all about the most dangerous and terrifying bodies of water you should never, ever go swimming in.
Never, ever.
In fact, even just dipping your hand or foot in the water could cost you your life. 9. The Strid. The river wharf in Yorkshire, England has an extremely narrow part called the Strid.
Okej. Får jag fråga, vart fan är vattnet här? Jag ser inget vatten. Det är bara dimma. Ingen mer med det, vi fortsätter.
Which is a local variation of stride. This section is so narrow that you could literally leap across it, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. In fact, just stepping into this babbling brook isn't a good idea.
Det där är inte vanliga bubblor, det där är för fan någon som har pruttat.
The wharf itself has an extremely strong current, and due to the narrowness of the Strid, that current gets even stronger in this area. The sheer force of the moving water has cut cavities into the surrounding limestone that are much deeper than the rest of the river bottom. But that's not the end of the story. That same powerful current has also weakened the banks of the Strid and undercut them from below. That means...
Alltså... På tal om den här bilden. Det ser ut som fucking Minecraft. Kom igen.
That the place where you're standing and staring at the rapid flow is most likely a frail...
Så bara en fisk ska hoppa på betet.
...ledge hanging over dangerous waters. People who were unlucky enough to fall into the Strid or ignorant enough to try and enter the water were instantly pulled to the bottom. Over the years, nobody who's gotten into the river has ever made it out alive. And you wouldn't know the threat just by looking at this tiny, narrow...
Så då är min fråga. Om de säger att alla som har kommit ner i det här vattnet aldrig har kommit upp igen. Hur många är det som då har provat? Jag menar, ifall... Skitsamma, vi fortsätter bara titta.
Moving body of water. And that's the scariest part of all. 8. Horseshoe Lake. There's a lake in California that you could easily call a weekend paradise. Sandy beaches, picnic areas, hiking trails, horseshoe...
Vänta, vad sa de i början?
Sandy Beach Lake in California that you could easily call a weekend paradise.
Ja, för det första, det här ser inte ut som någon jävla weekend paradise. Vattnet är för fan svart. Titta! Det är svart! Ja, fortsätt titta.
Sandy beaches, picnic areas, hiking trails, Horseshoe Lake has it all. All this and 100 acres of dead trees. Oh.
Weekend Paradise var det, va? Nej, tror inte det, va? Jag skulle inte vilja åka till någon jävla Weekend Paradise om det ser ut sådär. Jag vet inte vad ni andra tycker, men det är vad jag tycker.
Doesn't just kill trees, it kills people too. The earthquakes of 1989 and 1990 are to blame. They cleared the way for carbon dioxide to break out from underneath hot magma and come spewing out into the air, killing the surrounding trees and every living thing in the vicinity. Nowadays, Horseshoe Lake is still just as deadly as it was 30 years ago. The danger lies in the fact that the level...
Om det fortfarande är lika dödligt nu som det var för 30 år sedan, varför kallar de det fortfarande för Weekend Paradise? Ser det här ut som någon jävla paradise?
Levels of this lethal gas change absolutely at random. You can be enjoying a peaceful lakeside picnic at one moment and be dying from asphyxiation the next. There are tons of warning signs posted around the lake, yet the area continues to claim lives.
Dock om det hade sett ut så här, då hade jag kunnat kalla det för Weekend Paradise, men fan. Det andra? Nej.
7. Kipu Falls. In Kauai, Hawaii, there's a group of beautiful waterfalls that, until recently, was this destination's tourist.
Ni vet det här träsket Yoda bor i Star Wars. Det här ser lite ut som det. Barn, och inte dit.
Hotspot. They're called Kipu Falls, and until they were closed to the public in 2011, they were an extremely popular place for swimming and diving. In order to reach this gem, you'd have to walk along a dirt path for a while until you'd be rewarded by the sight of a 20-foot waterfall crashing into a crystal clear pool below.
Jävla omväg det där var.
Rewarded by the sight of a 20-foot waterfall.
Ta fågelvägen bara, tvärs över, härifrån dit. Shup! Istället för att det ska ta 2 timmar kan du gå den där vägen på 10 minuter.
While crashing into a crystal clear pool below. And why was this area fenced off from tourists? Well, it's also been a hotspot for tons of injuries and deaths. Obviously, some people were hurt while jumping from the top of the waterfall, but many deaths weren't so easy, if at all possible, to explain. Witnesses recount some swimmers peacefully bathing in the pool at the bottom of the falls that simply drowned without any obvious reason. They just all of a sudden disappeared under the surface, never to be seen again.
Fattar jag en triple backflip därifrån. Högst upp från berget, fan vad nice. Vi fortsätter.
Their bodies were later retrieved from the very bottom. The locals believe that the water spirit Mo'o drags people down because it doesn't like to be disturbed by noisy tourists. Others think there's a powerful whirlpool raging at the bottom. Whatever the case, authorities have ordered travel guide publishers not to mention Kipu Falls anymore, and trespassing carries a hefty punishment.
Ligger Kipu Falls i Amsterdam eller ligger i London? Eller ligger i Singapore eller Delhi? Jag vet inte. Jaha, det kanske inte är stället. Det var inget. Vi fortsätter.
Definitely not worth it. 6. The Semezin Hole. Named after a nearby fishing village, the Semezin Hole is a sight to behold. A whopping 280-foot drop, it's the deepest diving site in the whole Gulf of Thailand. Amazing, exciting, and mesmerizing. It's also the most dangerous. It's become a watery grave for countless divers. And
för att det kanske var 100 000 hajar där. Inklusive megalodon. Jag vet inte, men jag gissar på det. Vi tar reda på det nu.
Here's why. First of all, it's situated in a high traffic zone of huge oil tankers. Secondly, there are extremely strong currents around this place. Plus, brave divers who decide to conquer the Semezin Hole have to deal with deadly barracuda. And as you start your descent,
jag var nära.
Your visibility becomes very poor. That, in turn, only increases your chances of not seeing one of these aggressive sea predators coming right your way at the nearly pitch-black depths. And that's not all. The US Navy used to dump ammo in the Semezin Hole, and the site is literally...
Det ser ut som bomber för fan. Men fan är du och lägger ner bomber i vattnet? Ni vet så här, det här spelet, vad heter det? Jag vet inte, det brukar finnas på typ så här vanliga basics-datorer.
Covered with unexploded bombs. Yikes! 5. New Smyrna Beach. In Volusia County, Florida, you'll find New Smyrna Beach. When you see it in pictures, you can't imagine a better beach getaway. You'd be better off staying on the beach though, unless you like swimming with sharks. The thing is that lots of fish live in the waters near this place, and all this prey attracts sharks.
Det stod Doris i början av videon. Vi hittar den andra parten. Tja Nemo! Vänta, där är ju Doris. Och sen alla hajarna vi pratar om. Skitsamma. Vänta. Det är Patrik Sjöstjärna där.
In fact, there's so many of them near New Smyrna Beach that according to the Shark Attack file, this place is the shark attack capital of the world. Scientists say that if you decide to swim there, you'll definitely come within 10 feet of at least one shark. By the way, the bull shark, one of the most dangerous and aggressive species, has been spotted in this area.
Så, åk dit gärna. Tror det kan vara jävla hemmatrevligt.
4. Hanakapiai Beach. Kauai makes this deadly list again for its beach located on Nepali coast. Hanakapiai Beach looks deceptively like a paradise on Earth. To reach it, you need to walk along a rocky 2-mile trail that happens to be extremely steep. If you make it safely to the beach, you won't see any lifeguards. This place is too remote to have any.
Ja, det här ser inte heller ut som någon jävla paradise. Och han ser inte heller ut att tycka det. Fortsätter.
And even if it did, they wouldn't be able to save your life anyway if you decided to go for a refreshing swim. The biggest danger that would most likely lead to your untimely demise is rip currents. They're so powerful that even the most experienced swimmer in the world wouldn't be able to get out of their deadly embrace. There are no reefs to protect the shores of the beach, which is why the currents are almost always present. And due to the geography of the area, you won't be able to find a safe place to swim towards. The nearest safe beach is 6 miles away. Visitors of Hanakapiai Beach are sternly recommended to stay out of the water. For this purpose,
do not go near the water. Och så ser vi här nere hur många som har dött. Jag tänker mig liksom bara det står 1-6 så borde folk tänka, aha, det är någon som har dött. Vi kanske inte borde gå nära vattnet. Men det är typ 30 personer som inte har insett det. Yes.
There's also a somber sign standing on the beach. It's got more than 80 marks on it, one for each drowning, and the bodies of 15 of its victims have never been discovered. 3. Berkeley Pit. This body of water on our list is one of the few that doesn't trick you with deceptive beauty. Berkeley Pit, an artificial lake in Butte, Montana.
Det där ser ut som
With deceptive beauty. Berkeley Pit, an artificial lake in
Det ser ut som att en jävla meteor har kommit och slagit ner här. Sen har det regnat i tusentals år.
Butte, Montana, literally looks like a lake of blood. Forget about swimming. You can't even touch the surface of the water with your hand or foot. This reservoir used to be an open-pit copper mine, so nowadays heavy metals like cadmium, arsenic, zinc, lead, and copper leak from the rocks surrounding the lake, making the waters highly oxygenated and acidic. In 1995, there was a flock of geese found in the Berkeley Pit, and all 342 birds were dead. Their internal organs had severe burn marks from the water.
Barn, drick inte vattnet, ni kommer dö. Uppenbarligen. Kids, stay home.
2. Exploding lakes. There are 3 exploding lakes known to people so far. Lake Manoon and Lake Nyos in Cameroon, and Lake Kivu in Rwanda. These lakes appeared over pools of magma separated by a dam of volcanic rock. From time to time, magma releases methane and carbon dioxide right into the water. When it happens, these toxic gases suddenly burst out of the water, sometimes even causing lake tsunamis. In something called a limnic eruption, poisonous gases get free from a toxic cloud that kills nearby animals, plants, and people. In 1984, 37 people suffocated to death at Lake Manoon, and in 1986, an explosion on Lake Nyos killed 1,700 people and 3,500 livestock. 1. Pustoy Lake. This lake in western Siberia can boast crystal clear fresh water, beautiful forests on its shores, and
Är hon dum och håller på och fiskar här? Pirayer håller på att sniffa henne i baken. Pirayer håller på och... ja, det ser farligt ut. Och hon verkar sitta i en liten popcornbunke. Säkert.
Absolutely no life in or around it. There are no fish in the lake. Birds don't fly over it. Animals steer clear of this picturesque location and don't even come to drink. Scientists have examined the water of the lake, but nothing toxic, poisonous, or the least bit dangerous has been found. The researchers did notice some bubbles going up to the surface, but
Ja, det är bara fisar.
those turned out to be as harmless as the water itself. In an
Jag glömde vad jag skulle säga.
experiment to get to the bottom of things, the scientists released the most undemanding fish, pike, carp, and perch into the lake. After some time, even these robust species died. The same exact thing happened with aquatic plants the researchers tried to grow in the lake.
Alltså, de behöver inte vara döda bara för man vänder fiskar upp och ner.
The vegetation simply rotted. All this has made the lake a thing of legends. Its name is surrounded by whispers, myths, and even some conspiracies. And while Pastoy Lake looks like an absolutely normal water reservoir, and
Jag tror verkligen inte vara så mycket mer med den här videon. Vad säger man i slutet? Vad är det alla som brukar säga i slutet? Tack för att ni tittade. Prenumerera gärna, gilla gärna och ha det.